All right, guys, it is Sunday, April 21st, 2024. So yesterday I did a little work on something and doing a little bit more today. Going to give you a quick verbal update on Steve's and show you what's up because the project went backwards. The engine and transmission's back out of his car. The reason is the top of the transmission case is touching the pinch weld right here on the firewall. This is a pinch weld right here. It's like that wide, runs across. The transmission's hitting this. So I've got to trim this out. I'm going to do that tomorrow on Monday. But, I'm going to trim that out. Probably going to have to put a couple of welds on it because this is spot welded through here. So I'm going to grind a pretty good spot away, re-weld it, and then I'll have to go in and prime it. And then I'm going to go in and seam seal it. It's seam sealed on the top on the inside of the car, but I'm going to go ahead and seam seal this side as well. And anyway, just spot it in with the black paint that they used under there. So anyway, I can't get the tail shaft of the transmission to come up high enough to get the rubber mount on. It's so close. I need just a little bit, and that'll get me right there. But in my car, I have a 700 R4 with a small block just like this, but my engine is 3/4 of an inch forward on the motor mounts. His are in stock location, so that's why it's causing that issue there. But anyway, I'm going to get on to something else. So I've been asked several times, I'm always constantly getting asked about projects on my channel, and I've actually got a couple of G-body projects that'll make their way to the channel, which are in the form of Monte Carlo Super Sports, like 80s models. Anyway, like in 2017, I bought a pair of Monte Carlo Super Sports. One was a parts car for the other one that had been wrecked. So anyway, as I started working on it, the body had been crashed. It had been crashed twice. Fixed the first time and then crashed again. Not by me, but anyway, it's had so much problems, I decided to find another body. So I ended up finding another car, and then I found another car, and then I found another car. So I ended up at the end of it in 2017, I had 5 Super Sport Monte Carlos, like real SS cars, not clones. And I did a whole bunch of work to one and then sold it. I actually sold them all 5 to the same guy. He come and got the 87 T-top body because I'd done a whole bunch of restoration work to it. The chassis painted and done. The rust repair was done in the floors and in the T-roof section, and then it was in primer. He came and got it in a whole bunch of parts, and he put it in storage, and that's where it's been ever since. We ended up trading, so I got the cars back. The other 4 Monte Carlos never left here. So anyway, I have enough extra parts to build one more Monte Carlo SS besides the T-top 87 that I plan on making original, which is not here yet. That'll be a project later down the road. Now keep in mind, these projects, this is stuff that will wind up on the channel at a later date. Like right now, I got to get Steve's car done. I want to get to work on my wife's 55 4-door. I've got a lot of stuff to do, but I want to kind of jump around on projects later after Steve's car's gone and kind of keep the channel, fresh with new content and stuff. So anyway, and then I got another 55 coming from Texas. It's supposed to be here like in a week or 2 weeks. So anyway, lots of stuff going on the channel, lots of projects to come. But I kind of want to give you guys the rundown on the seconds Monte Carlo. It is, crap, I can't even remember what year it is. I'll have to look at the title. It's a mid-80s Monte Carlo SS, and it had been wrecked and repaired, and they put it on a frame machine. They didn't get the frame real good. I've got another Monte Carlo that is rusted away. I mean, really bad rusty, and it wrecked down the side. But it has a good chassis, so I'm going to take the chassis out from under it and put it under this other Monte Carlo. So this particular Monte Carlo is going to be made from all of the leftovers. And I'm going to do something a little different with it. This is going to be powered by a turbocharged Buick V6 engine and a 400 turbo transmission. Now I'm doing it, it's actually this setup right here, not this engine, this is a parts engine. It's going to be a draw-through, not a blow-through. This is the draw-through original style setup. Now this is a 1979 Regal Turbo, like a T-type, 3.8 liter turbocharged V6. I don't know about this engine. I've got another engine that's good that I'm going to rebuild. But Anyway, it has a quater jet on it and a turbo, obviously, but the turbocharger is after the carburetor, so that's what makes it a draw-through style. Now, I've got a lot of new parts and some upgraded parts that'll be going on to make one nice car, but that is what's going in a Monte Carlo SS. It'll be a Turbo V6 Buick. So I think that'll be pretty cool. Now I'm going to be putting which I already have, I have a spreadboard double pumper Holley carburetor that's going to go on it in place of the quater jet. That way it's a mechanical secondary, and I can richen up the secondary metering plate as fat as I want. I'm not a big fan of putting a vacuum operated secondary style carburetor with a turbo. I want mechanical linkage to throw that fuel in there automatically. So anyway, I have a better set of heads. I have a set of heads like would have come on a Grand National. They're 8445 casting cylinder heads, so those will go on there because these late 70s Buick 3.8 V6 heads, they flow terrible. They're horrible. Buick got better and better every year. They started out production in 78 for this Turbo V6 setup. And then by the time they got to 87, where the Grand Nationals and the Turbo Ts were, the intercooled stuff, it was refined and working great. Of course, it was fuel injection and, intercooled and all that kind of stuff in 86 and 87. That's what made them the best of the grouping. But anyway, I'm going to keep this draw through, and I think it'll be pretty interesting. But I have a lot of extra parts off an 83 T-type Buick Regal, which has an aluminum intake. This one has cast iron, which not going to get any horsepower out of that. It's just aluminum, and I'm going to use it. Also, it has a better turbo. It spools faster in 83 than what these older ones do. And I will be rebuilding the turbocharger with a kit. But I have a lot of stuff here, man. I got a brand new cam, brand new lifters, timing chain, rings, rod bearings, main bearings, oil pump rebuild. I got a lot of stuff here, man. Now I am going to convert that Holley to run on E85. So a little bit of conversion there. And I'm also going to convert it to, I can't even think of what it's called. So boost reference, that's what it is. I'm going to be boost referencing the carburetor. But it'll be really neat. I want to make it look like it came in that Monte Carlo from the factory. Now, fun fact, the body style that the 80s model Monte Carlo SSs are known for, that body style started in 81, but the Super Sport body style, the nose cone and stuff, didn't start till 83. But the Monte Carlo body changed in 81 and went to 88. Now they had a Buick 3.8 turbo draw-through V6 just like that in a 1981 Monte Carlo. So technically Chevrolet did that. But anyway, instead of running a 305 small block Chevy Monte Carlo SS, it'll be a E85 converted 3.8 liter turbo V6. So I have an adjustable wastegate for it. It's going to be converted to an electric fuel pump. It's also going to be an electric fan setup. I have a really nice SPAL dual electric fan setup for a G-body radiator. And I do have a brand new aluminum Champion radiator in the box. So it'll be a really neat setup. Now I'm going to be using a 400 turbo transmission, which is a 3-speed. But the gear ratio, the Monte Carlo, I have one 342 Monte Carlo gear set. And I've also got a 373 Positrack rear end. So I may change the 373 to a 342 with a Posi, which is still going to be pretty low geared for a 3-speed transmission, but I'll make do with it. But I think it'll be really neat. And again, this is a project that's going to be later down the road, but I'm going to make it look like it came in that car. It'll have the heat shield on the heater box like the turbo cars had. Try to, make it look like as much stock-ish as I can. Probably going to build a custom cold air setup for it instead of having that old, the carb hat that they had on it before. It's known to choke them down and like cost them a few tenths in the quarter. So some guys back in the day when they were messing with those cars, they would take them off and they'd improve their quarter-mile time. So I'm going to build something a little bit nicer and a little bit more airflow and with a cone filter type of setup, and try to make it where it's cold air into it. But it'll be fun. But I have an engine here. This is a 79 turbo 3.8, same as that one, same year. but this engine is in fantastic shape. The crank journals are mint. The cylinder walls, they don't even have a ridge. Very, very nice engine and crank and stuff in that. So I'm going to tear it all apart, clean up the block, you know, vat it, do all that kind of stuff. The cam bearings still look good, so I'm just going to reuse it. But I am going to polish the crank, hone the cylinders, and just re-ring it and re-bearing it. And then the cylinder heads I'll do a lap job on and put new valve seals on. I also have a pair of the aluminum fin valve covers like came on the 86, 87 cars, so that'll be a nice little upgrade on this, besides these little stamped steel, you know, plain Janers there. But this is the knock retard control that plugs into the HEI distributor, which is interesting. I have 4 of those boxes here, I think. Hopefully one of them's good. If it doesn't, it ain't no big deal. But anyway, I'm going to be converting it to E85. That way it runs a little bit cooler. It'll take more boost and be less prone to detonation. So there'll be a lot of tuning and tweaking to do to get that dialed in. And I may buy an air-fuel ratio gauge and put on it. But anyway, my idea was to take this Monte Carlo just to build it out of seconds, all the seconds stuff that's around, because I have a ton of parts here. I thought about just going ahead and scabbing it together, not painting anything, putting it together, and get the engine and stuff rebuilt and get it all bolted together, get it in the car and do all the tuning and stuff, and just leave it 10 different colors. Because it's going to have like a white nose cone, probably a white fender, a black hood, the back of the car's maroon. I mean, it'll be multicolored, but it'll allow me to get it all tuned in and dialed in. And then later on, if I don't sell it, I'll tear it apart and, you know, take it all down to metal and paint it up and make it nice. So now I'll take you out and show you the car, and some of you are going to think I'm crazy because the car is in really sad shape. But I hate to scrap it because it is, at the end of the day, a real Monte Carlo Supersport. So after Steve left yesterday, I come out here and started working on this part in here. Now I had a whole lot of blackberry bushes I had to clean out here. This whole front of this car was engulfed, and all of that car was engulfed in blackberry bushes. And I even had some saplings growing over there in between the car and the fence. So I removed all that stuff yesterday, and anyway, I found a lot of parts. There was a whole bunch of parts in this car that I didn't even know was in here, because 2017 is the last time I messed with this stuff. This stuff's been sitting for that long without being messed with. There are some parts that got ruined just from, you know, being rained in or rained on and whatever, but at the end of the day, I still got a lot of extra parts. So definitely enough to make one more SS Monte Carlo. So now I'll show you the car so you can think I'm crazy. So this is it right here. I can't remember what year this one is. I'm gonna have to look at the title. This is a real Supersport Monte Carlo, and I had started doing work on this car. It was going to be one of the ones that I used the body and build it, and then I found out that it had been in an accident and it's not done very well. So that was when I ended up getting another body and fixing it. So this car, you can see by the body filler how deep it is right there. That's almost an inch deep. So this car's took a hit right here. It didn't hurt any of this up here. It just got it right there on the wheel well, but it did push in the wheel well, the tub, or whatever you want to call it, the wheelhouse. It is pushed in at the top just a little bit, but that'll, I'm sure, will pull out. But I'm going to go ahead and put a quarter on here. I've got another quarter over here that I can put on it, so I think I'll just put it on at the factory seams and do a nice job on it. The rest of the car is in pretty good shape, other than when I was moving this car back here, I was trying to get another car in beside it, and it caught the mirror and smashed it up into the end of the door and then broke the stud out of it. So this door got caved in. The door has filler in it anyway. It's got filler up in here, and you can see a little bit down there. So anyway, I'm just going to put another door that I have that's perfect. It doesn't have no dents or rust in it, and it's an aero mirror door, so I'm just going to put it on. It's power. This car's all power windows and locks as well. So this car's been wrecked in the front, and it was put on a frame machine and pulled, but they didn't do a very good job on it because it's still out of square. When you measure, cross measure factory holes in the frame, it's still out of square. And here's the telltale signs that I didn't ever know until I took the front clip off the car and started checking it over. This was smashed in just a little bit, so I had ended up getting inside and hammering it back out. But the frame right here is smashed in, and it's bulged out right here on the top. So what has happened is, in the collision in the front, the wheel hit this. That's why that pushed in and this pushed in. So that's how far in that this got crunched. So Anyway, this frame is no good, and the body is not bolted down. It's just sitting on the chassis. So all the bolts are out of it and everything. Because I had this chassis out from under this car at one time because I was going to use the body shell. And then I ended up finding the damage in the quarter, and I gave up on it and got another car. But now I'm going to go ahead and fix it and continue on with a different chassis from another car I'll show you here in a minute. So this door is perfect. There's no dents, no dings, no body filler in it. Now this quarter, I'd ground the filler out right here. There is a low spot right here, and they didn't pull it out just like the other side. They just wiped over it with filler. The rest of the quarter is good. It's just a dent right here. So, and it's high right here. So I'm gonna go in here and, you know, grind all this filler out, and I'm gonna go in here and hammer and dolly this because there's access on the back when the trunk lid's open. I'll get in there and fix this real nice. And anyway, then I'll skim coat it. But I think this quarter can be fixed. It's got a high spot right here, but it's like it pushed in here and then popped this out, and then they just filled the whole thing instead of trying to pull it out, you know, and work it a little bit. But anyway, the deck lid's on it, the spoiler's on it. The spoiler doesn't even have any cracks in it. All the glass is still in it. And the door, check this out. The door opens and closes great. So I had cut the floor pan out up here and the rear floor pan out back here and put in the other car. But I have another car right there that still has good floors on that side. So I'm gonna cut them out of that car and put in this car. So, I mean, there's a lot of metal work to do, but I got more time than money. And again, this is going to be a project on the list that will get done at a later date. But I'm going to have to put a quarter on it, a door on it, which I've already got the door sitting over here. And then I'm going to have to work on that quarter over there just a little bit, and then put 2 floor pans in it. So I'm using all OEM metal, so it should go in just fine. Now this car was one of the first ones I'd got. I got this one and this one together. This had been wrecked in the front and fixed by somebody, and then they wrecked it again in the front. So anyway, I thought I was going to fix it, and I tore into it, and it just kept finding worse and worse and worse work. So I ended up giving up on it, and that's when I got, I think it was the 87 that is getting work, and then I found that one. That one was a good deal. Anyway, I put this quarter panel on here. This is off another car. I'm going to show you here in a minute. But I took it apart at all the factory seams and put the full quarter on, just like factory. And luckily, I never finished welding it all up. So I'm just going to pull this one back off and put on that car. So, you know, when the trunk's open, you're not going to be able to tell that any of this was ever done, because it'll be a full GM quarter panel. This quarter doesn't even have any dings in it. It's perfect. So anyway, this quarter's going on. Now, I did plug weld it before, but I never went back and ground them. So thankfully, I know where the welds are. I can re-drill it back out and pull it back off. So this door right here is a power window and lock door. And it's an aero mirror door, and there is no dings or dents in this door, and there's no rust. It's perfect. So this door is going to go on that body over there. So it'll be, you know, I'm going to build it out of 4 other Monte Carlos, but it's a lot of nice parts. It should be a nice car when it's done, you know what I mean? The only thing that's kind of a shame is I only have 1 bucket seat. I don't have the other bucket. So I need a passenger side bucket seat, the low back, like this one. This was actually in that car, but I've got it pulled out here. I'm going to put it in a mini storage. I'm actually going to load a lot of this stuff up and take it to a mini storage. I called and talked to him yesterday. So there's a mini storage that's over here by my house, and I'm just going to take all the stuff over there and get it out of the weather. But anyway, I'll show you the other car that's parts. All right, so this is my project for today. This had the front fenders on it and the core support, and I just removed all that stuff a little bit ago, and then it was full of parts, and I cleaned it out. I did get some stuff put in my shed, but anyway, I'm going to pull my truck around here and load it up with all this stuff and take it to a mini storage. But anyway, this car, this is an 88 T-top Monte Carlo, and this thing is wrecked. It's also super rusty, so I'm not going to use it. But anyway, this car is just a parts car. The roof is rotted out on it. I mean, all up in there it's rotted. This floor back here, both rear floors are gone. They're like gone. That side over there, look how rusty that is. Now, I'd cut that floor out, but anyway, that one's history. But anyway, the quarter smashed in here and here. This door got hit right here. It's smashed in up here as well. This car took a hit down the side. It caught the very front edge of the front end right here and just went all down the side of it. And when I got the car, it was all together with an engine, trans, and everything, and I actually got it running. But anyway, I took the front clip off, and it's mainly so I could check this chassis over, but this chassis I think is fine. So I'm going to cross measure it as well today, but I'm pretty sure this chassis is good, and I'm going to go ahead and put it under that car that I'm going to build. This is the second car. This is going to be the chassis for it, but this is a real SS car. Has the big sway bar, has the jounce bars, it has the rear sway bar. This is a G80 Positrack car. The tag is underneath the sticker underneath the deck lid with all the other options that it had. But anyways, real nice car. The heater box is nice. Now some of this stuff is going to go on that 87 car, like the heater box and all that stuff, but there's a lot of extra parts here that's going to go on that other car. But anyway, there's a nice heater box there that's taken apart. But anyway, I'm just kind of inventorying stuff, seeing what I have. There's stuff in the trunk packed full. I got a wiring harness out, checking it over, because that's the dash I'll be using. I do have a cover-lay dash cover in my house in the box for this. I got a brand new aluminum radiator in the box, some spowl fans, a lot of stuff I've had for a long time in boxes I'm just going to go ahead and use. But anyway, I was trying to figure out if this was the right harness for the car, and it is. So these G-bodies, the wiring harnesses are so simple on these cars. I know these wires pretty good on these cars, so I will have to alter this a little bit to work for a V6 instead of V8, because some stuff's in different location than 305, but it's pretty simple otherwise. But that's what I'm doing, guys. I'm just getting stuff, you know, rounded up and just kind of looking at inventory and stuff. I don't know if I'll have enough time. It's already after lunch, so I may end up, this may be next weekend's project, because, you know, during the weekdays I got to work on Steve's car. But this is like my little weekend project here. But I'd like to go ahead and get the body off the frame, and I may just go ahead and cut this body all up in pieces so it'll fit in the back of a truck and get it hauled off, because it's garbage, man. Now I'm keeping the doors, I'm keeping the T-tops, I'm keeping the trunk lid, you know, the back glass is just sitting in it. I'm going to pull all the trim, the heater box, the brake stuff. It'll be a bare gutted shell before I cut it up, but I don't need this body here anymore, you know what I mean? This thing it's wasted. And this is the one that I pulled the quarter panel off of to put on that other car that I've got to return, pull it back off and put it on another car. So this door is very, very nice. It's not rusty, there's no dents in it. But anyway, so the other project, cut and dry, is it's a mid-80s-ish Monte Carlo. I can't remember what year it is. I'll have to look at the title. Monte Carlo Super Sport. It'll have a turbocharged V6 Buick in it with a 400 turbo trans on E85 fuel. So it should be a neat little project. I'm not building a race car. It's gonna be something that I can get in and drive and enjoy, but it should run pretty decent for what it is, you know what I mean? My goal, I would like to take it to the Tulsa drag strip and video that, you know, run it through a couple of times up there, but my goals is to get maybe 14s out of it. I don't think that's unheard of, but anyway, we'll see. Again, it's not an intercooled Grand National engine, it's just a draw-through carb Buick V6, but a lot of the other stuff that I have will help make it run better than the way it was from 1979. So a lot of work, and this may take a year or 2 years to build this off and on, but we'll see. Thanks for watching.